What's up, fam? Hey, thank y'all for tuning in once again. And as always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Today, we want to talk about Sister Brittney Griner. If you don't know, I'm sure everybody knows that she was sentenced a few days ago to 9 years or 9.5 years in a Russian prison on drug charges. Now, a lot of people are outraged, upset about her sentencing, her being held this long, and then the citizen, made people even more upset. And I myself can say, may have felt some type of way about it at first, because I'm like, man, that's kind of jacked up that they held this long for. Because I'm like, oh man, people try to minimize and say, it's a THC cartridge. Marijuana cartridge, and they said THC cartridge, not even, little bitty, not even a gram. You see what I'm saying? A worth of THC, and they holding it this long, and talking about prison time, and I'm like, man, what the hell? But when you look deeper into the story and understand the laws and the rules and regulations, just look at all the details, you start to understand what's really going on. And you may think there's a conspiracy behind or something, but truly, it may not be. It truly may be that this woman did something that she knew or should have known to get her in trouble. And she's paying the consequences for it, like anybody else who has, done something illegal. So the thing is, one, it's not that she's in jail. She was in jail for that period of time because of what she had. The problem was that she brought it from one country to another. So that's where the years come from, because basically, truthfully, in Russia, and I got my little notes here. Anything less than 6 grams of what she had, of the THC she had in her cartridge, if you're in Russia, because it's illegal in Russia just like it is illegal in America. If you get caught with less than 6 grams, you get up to a 15-day in confinement and a fine. 15 days up to, so you can get probation or what have you, have it on your record, whatever. But like I say, that's it. But because she brought it in, and they can, consider it a smuggling offense, that's where the 9 years come from, because the maximum sentence is 10 years for smuggling that amount of THC. Now you might say, hey, that's an excessive amount, excessive time still for just that amount of THC. Well, here in Texas, if you want to go back to just having that much THC, in Texas, less than 1 gram, which she had like 0.7 grams, which was in 2 different cartridges, equal up to 7 grams that she had. If you get caught with that in Texas, not smuggling, just get caught, it's anywhere from a 6-month to a 2-year fine, and 6 months to 2 years imprisonment, and a $10,000 fine. So, truthfully, the confinement or the prison term in this country is worse than it is in Russia. Now, we can go back and say, and hear her story saying that she forgot she had it. She was packing quickly, rushing, the pack, got over there, forgot she even had it. My thing is, number one, how did Russia see it, but America didn't see it? Now, this is a woman who's been going to Russia for at least, I believe, 7 years. They say she making $1 million this year. I don't know how much she's made in the past, but I'm sure she made a substantial amount of money for what she do. Because that's one thing most women in American sports, if they ever want to make real money in sports, they've always played overseas. They've whether it's basketball, softball, you know, they go to Russia, they go to China, whatever other country, Spain, and they make a lot more money over there than they did over here. And they did that even before it became like professional sports. Well, even before professional basketball was over here. Well, professional basketball for women have been up here for a long time. It just was never put out there. But then the WNBA, the NBA gets pretty much helped create the WNBA. And in the beginning, you know, it was a hype thing. You know, I think a lot of fanfare, you know, a lot of marketing behind it. But then for some reason, the marketing fell off. You know, the people going to the games fell off, and now they're not making a lot of money. So they go, you know, they still go overseas and, you know what I'm saying, make that $1 million. But talking about somebody who's been doing this for years, so you would think that she or her handlers or managers or whoever would know the rules of the game, you know, would be extra careful, making sure, you know, hell, I smoke this stuff because it's for pain. So you already tell, you know, you shoot. Number one thing is, when you get back, if you do get released and you come back, how are you going to be welcomed by the WNBA? Because you actually are doing something that is federally illegal. I mean, I don't know if it's illegal in Phoenix where, you know, where you play ball, but now it's federally illegal. So just to know that you had that, now it's like, you know, the WNBA, the government are going to have to come under some scrutiny. Feel me? So it's like, it's I don't know, it's like a double-edged sword when it comes to that. But anyhow, like I said, she should have known better. Whoever handles her or manager should have known better. And I mean, she just got caught. It happened all the time. I mean, you know, people make mistakes. You've seen it where people get caught and there'll be a gun in their luggage. And it's like they put it in the wrong bag. Instead of putting in like the bag that goes on the plane, they put it in their carry-on bag and mess around, and they get in trouble for that. And they be like, oh man, you know, I brought the gun on accident, or I packed it on accident, or whatever the case may be, and didn't declare it, whatever they're supposed to do. And they get fined, and, you know, and maybe jail for that. You know what I'm saying? It just depends. So like I say, it's a sad case. It's an unfortunate case. But then they're trying to they're talking about exchange. Now everybody's outraged and they want to try to exchange her for Russia said they want this what is he like? They call him Dr. Death, or a Russian arms dealer named Victor Bout, which truthfully is not an equal exchange. Even the other guy they want to add to the deal for Brittney Griner, it's not an even exchange because of what this dude from Russia, you know, says that he has a history of. But what's really hypocritical about this whole ordeal, which is why I think, you know, Biden administration, they're talking about it, you know, they're acting like it's a top priority or whatever, but really what's hypocritical about this is, and this is what looks bad on your vice president, which is why you always have to be careful of the things you do today, because it may affect you tomorrow. And the thing about it is, you don't know how it's going to affect you tomorrow. You might think everything is all good, but then something like this happens, and for all these months nothing has been said by the administration, and then you wonder why nothing was said, number one. But then once something is said, the people come out in the woodworks and they put your history on blast. So Miss Kamala Harris, let's go to her. She came out and she talks about she want Miss Griner being let out, but a lot of people, including story that I see on Fox News, called her out on her hypocrisy. And matter of fact, this article says Tulsi Gabbard blasts Kamala Harris quote-unquote hypocrisy for Brittney Griner response at the marijuana lockup as AG. Now, if you don't know, there's been a lot of stories going around about Kamala Harris and her jail sentences for people on like marijuana charges, and how they completed their entire sentences and even longer sentences, but she was doing this to come up. So here's a quote from what Tulsi Gabbard said. It says, Another note of hypocrisy coming from Kamala Harris and this administration is you mentioned during her illustrious record as Attorney General in California, she kept prisoners in prison longer than their sentences to use them as free slave labor. Yet at the same time, these very same people are condemning other countries for doing exactly the same thing, Gabbard told Fox News host Will Cain. And that's your problem. America, this country is not clean. There are a lot of foreign countries who say America is like real hypocritical, are the last people to talk about human rights and how other countries should treat their citizens, when America doesn't do the same thing. As a matter of fact, even Elon Musk, he said that it's very hypocritical for America to try to force Russia to release Sister Griner, but you still got a lot of people in prison over here on marijuana charges, especially when you got states that have legalized marijuana, but you still got people in prison over here for the exact thing that, let's just say it, a lot of them folk are making money off of these dispensaries, because a lot of us ain't got no dispensaries. You understand what I'm saying? So it ain't really fattening our pocket, but we're fattening their pocket all the way around. One with buying stuff from the dispensary, and two, working in the prisons. And due to the very same thing, you're allowing your people to make money off of. So, truth be told, sometimes it's better if certain people don't say nothing to help my case, because if they say something, it's only gonna like hurt my case. So I don't need you, having my back, because I'm trying to get out of here, and your record does not help my case. The way you treat your own people, well, I won't say your own people, the way you treat fellow citizens doesn't help my case to get out. So really, you need to shut it up, period. Then the next thing is, where's the LGBT community behind all this? Haven't heard a word from them. And when I say you haven't heard a word from them, I'm talking about as a group. Because we know there's probably some individual people who have said things, but I'm talking about as a group. Like, they are good to come out and speak about certain things as a whole. But here, you haven't heard much about it. You know what I'm saying? The only people you heard something about was like some of the athletes. Some people, saying like LeBron James, or what's the guy, Robert Griffin III, talking about, bring Brittney home and stuff like this. And I mean, it's okay to say, hey, this is unfair, she need to be let out. Because, truthfully it is. We're talking about something that really, when you compare it to cigarettes and alcohol that's legal, there's really like no reason. Well, I'm not going to say no reason. I said like this, compared to those two, there's really no reason for marijuana to be illegal. But I do remember doing clinicals in a mental hospital, and you looking at, patient charts, and these are like young people and old people. Well, not when I say young, I mean like some places, teenagers, and some, I say older people, like adults, like full-fledged adults. A lot of them, they said the diagnosis they had was cannabis dependency. But a lot of people say you can't get addicted on it, but yet I've seen it where it say cannabis dependency. So what does that what does that tell you? But some things they ain't gonna tell you, some things they try to hide from you, some things could be a reason why they say cannabis dependency. Who knows? But I'm just telling you what I saw. But again, like I said, there's really no, but other than that, like I said, there's really no reason. But again, people get dependent on alcohol, people get addicted to cigarettes, like real easy, like nicotine. So, what I'm saying? Like I said, so what's up with that? But my thing, like I say, with the LGBT community, we haven't heard a whole lot from them about this situation, which is like, I guess you would say from that standpoint, is disheartening, because y'all are quick to try to destroy any and everybody you can, or come to the defense of anybody that's part of your community, a lot of times But on something like this, you say nothing. You know, like when, especially like it seems like when in the LGBT community of our color, of Aboriginal people, when they get in trouble or they get killed by somebody, you know, they don't say nothing. You don't hear much from them. But they're always fighting. But let's say, you know, Black Lives Matter, they'll get behind that. They'll let you run the group. But that's because it's going to benefit them financially, because that money goes to all these LGBT groups, you know, these organizations. When it's supposed to go to a Black Lives organization, it's pretty much was spearheaded by the murder of black men. But anyway, enough of that. And then I was wondering too about the family. You know, I haven't heard much about the family, but we did hear the sisters speak out. The parents, not so much, but you gotta think about their parents in their 60s and stuff, and they're probably, you know, was told, you know, not to say too much. You know, they probably, you know, I mean, they have spoken and said that, you know, they want their daughter home and stuff like that, and, you know, things of that matter, but they're not, you know, just out there. I mean, what you gonna do? You know, what can you do? They're in a whole other country. That's probably one reason why they said a whole lot, because no matter how much you know, protest or get mad over here, you're not finna get Putin to change his mind at all about anything. So, you know, what doesn't matter. But anyway, let me get out of here. But like I said, it's sad. It's disheartening to see, like say, Sister Griner go through this. No matter, you know, no matter what you may think of her as a person, her preferences or whatever. It just, you know, it seems harsh, but again, she broke the law. Period. If it was us, if it was just anybody regular, normal people who wasn't so celebrity, high profile, if it would have happened, you would never heard anything about it. Matter of fact, I tell you, you know, somebody asked me one time, not too long ago, about, you know, going out of town, going out the country, and taking, you know, wanted to take an edible. You know, what, you know, like how hard we think it'd be, you know, to take edibles on the plane or something silly like that. And I sent them the story of Brittney Griner, and I sent them another story I saw that Philip Scott did, a short he did on one of his channels, where, you know, the lady was like, this dude was dumb enough to take, I think, say marijuana and a gun across the border to Mexico, and now he's being held. And people tell you all the time, man, don't do. I mean, come on, Mexico. You could probably find marijuana on Mexico on the street. You know what I'm saying? Growing down, you know, growing on the sidewalk. I mean, I don't know. You know, you probably get it pretty doggone easy. If you try to bring it over there to another country, one thing you don't do in another country is break their laws. And it may seem silly, it may seem harsh, but again, like I said, America's stance on THC and that amount is harsher than Russia. But her problem is the years came from the smuggling charge. And the smuggling charge, like I said, would carry up to 10 years just for that amount she had. And you might think, oh, smuggling, that's a harsh word. Well, think about this here. You remember back in the day, a lot of y'all might not, some of y'all might not be old enough to remember this, but back in the day, let's say you got into a dispute, an argument with your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever. And so y'all in the house arguing, right? And y'all, you know, arguing and fussing. And maybe ain't no hands being thrown, but y'all arguing, cussing each other out, all this kind of stuff. You know, threatening each other. You know, you remember back in the day, they say break up to make up, you know, what they call make-up sex, and y'all fighting, you know what I'm saying, fighting and screwing. You know, that's just what, you know, it's what relationships were. You know, that was like a norm. But you just got in an argument, that's it. Somebody said, oh, I'm not, you know what I'm saying, you can't leave because we finna talk. You're saying there, you know, you take the keys, whatever, and y'all sitting there talking it out. And then eventually y'all, you can't get no further, so then you throw her the keys, she throw you the keys, you leave or whatever the case. Or y'all work it out, like I said, and go in the back room and get the hunching. Well, as time went on, nowadays, it's not like that no more. Nowadays, if y'all are arguing, let's say the police are called. Number one, nowadays, if you're arguing and the police are called, and somebody said, I'm gonna mess around, I'm gonna kill this son gun, and so and so. Everybody know they ain't serious because they're just upset because that's what they say all the time. But if police hear it or it's reported, now that's a verbal assault. That's a charge. Okay. Let's say is somebody try to leave and you like grab them by the arm and like, look, you're gonna sit here and listen to me. Oh, that's a physical assault. That's a charge. And then if somebody say that I'm leaving, I'm finna go, I'm finna sit here and listen to this, and you lock the door and say, no, you're not, you're gonna sit here and listen, that's kidnapping. Now you done got three assaults, and I think one of them, I think they're all felonies. I know at least one of them is, they're kidnapping. So now you're going to court and maybe going to jail for something that really didn't warrant it in your eyes. You might think it's excessive, but again, that's the law. And you have to follow the law, and you have to know the law. So it's like, if you don't know the law, what does it say? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. This here's the same thing. She may have not known about the full extent. She may not have known about the difference between just having it on and, you know, and smuggling. Like she might have thought, okay, it's just, you know, messed up. I brought it. I'm sorry. What's the charge of having this? Oh, you know, up to the shit hold on 15 days. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I'll say I'm apologize and go on my business. But then somebody say, oh, we're sorry. You brought it on the plane? Well, we got to. That's smuggling. And they say, well, smuggling, it wasn't even that much. And I'm not no drug dealer. You know, matter of fact, I can say, as I was saying earlier, like in the state of Texas, one thing I did forget, that depending on where you get caught, let's say like smuggling, let's say if you got anything greater than 0.5 grams of heroin, opium, desert morphine, can lead up to 10 years of imprisonment. Like say in Russia. But one thing I was saying about Texas, like stuff like edibles, like somebody when I said somebody want to take edibles to Mexico, in the state of Texas, if you have like gummy bears, brownies, lollipops, you could be charged, you can be charged like you have a key of cocaine, depending on the concentration of THC and your criminal record. And you're thinking, it's just gummies. No. Bottom line, know the law, learn the law, and make sure you follow the law. Period. If you do that, then you ain't got to worry about getting caught for anything. Because me, I'm telling you, I don't even want the smallest thing on my record. I want to try to stay clean as possible because I don't want nothing hindering me from all the goals I have in life. Some things, if it's going to hurt me too bad, then I might as well just stop doing it. You feel me? So, with that being said, tell me what you think about this story. Tell me what you think about the laws. Tell me what you think about the hypocrisy of Kamala Harris, your vice president, and the Biden administration, you know, your president. Tell me what you think about that. Tell me about this whole story. Leave your comment below and share it with the world. With that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.